See, here's where people get tripped up in real estate, Michelle, especially for the listener that's sort of new. They get scared, right? It's fear that stops us from taking the action, and then we don't have the success. And I'll say this 1,000 times: what's more scary, taking a risk and failing, or not taking the risk and being in the same spot you are right now in 5 years? So, what's really the scary thing here? But one of the things that will help get over this fear, because I know that's what stopped people, is to create these little goals that you can accomplish, and don't get hung up on the results. The results will come.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Pros podcast. I'm your host, Michelle Kesil, and today I'm joined by someone I'm looking forward to chat with, Kevin Amolsch, who is a real estate investor as well as the founder of Pine Financial. So excited to have you here today, Kevin.
So I'm thrilled to be here. You're like one of the hosts that separates themselves because you do a lot of prep getting ready for this call. So you've already challenged me once before we hit record. So I'm super excited to see what you have in store.
Awesome. Excited to dive in with you. So let's just go for it. First off, for those not familiar with you and your work yet, can you share what your main focus is?
Yeah, so I fell in love with real estate investing on the financing side because look, when you're negotiating a deal with a seller or a buyer, really, it all comes down to how the financing is going to be put in place. And you could get really creative with how you come up with the money to do real estate deals. So I fell in love with the financing side, and I started raising private capital for my own deals, and then I started taking that money, loaning it out to other people for their deals. And it turned into this business. So this was back in 2006. And then my partner and I separated in 2008 when the world was sort of crashing down on all of us. And so in 2008, I started Pine Financial, and now we've grown to a little over 250 in assets under management. And yeah, we're just helping people fund their real estate deals.
Awesome. And which markets do you operate in?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because there's two sides of this. When we raise capital from our investors, it's nationwide. There's some limitations, like New York, for example. It's sometimes hard to raise money there because they put restrictions on you. But for the most part, it's nationally. Now, when we loan the money out to our clients, we want to be very careful with that money. So we want to have like boots on the ground, people that can go out and inspect the projects, make sure we're being safe. So we're in 4 markets for that. We're headquartered in Denver, so right outside of Denver. We do quite a bit of business in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, so those are probably our 2 primary markets. But Wisconsin's catching up very quickly, and we also do business in DC. I know we're kind of spread out all over the country here, and there's a story for each move that we've made, but those are the 4 markets we're in now.
Awesome. And what do you feel are some of the main keys that make the biggest difference in your business growth and, yeah, allowing it to continue to scale?
Yeah, so I'm going to answer that with a little story here, Michelle. And I think this is an important one because it's a lesson that I learned It was a tough lesson to learn, and it was one that has really helped me. So when I was starting Pine, I was struggling because look, it was 2008 and everything was going. So I was really focused on putting food on the table.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Paying the mortgage, like paying the bills, right? So I was hyper focused on the transaction, which I think is a trap a lot of entrepreneurs get into. If you need the transaction to happen so you could pull your profit or your fees out, and that's how you support your family. So when I was focused on the business at the beginning, I was hyper focused on the fee, the transaction closing. When I was able to shift my focus to, is my client successful in this transaction? Um, then that's when my income really started to accelerate. And it was hard because sometimes you have to say, I can't do the deal because I don't think you're going to be successful. But when you say that, then they want to come back with you with the next one and they want to refer their friends. And so there's still a selfish motive here possibly, but really when you focus in on client success, that was one of the biggest keys for me for Pine Financial to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that integrity piece can take you a long way. And like, what are the type of clients that you serve? Is it all real estate investors, or is there a specific ideal client that you normally work with?
Yeah, and it's such an interesting business, and every business owner says that, right? Like, look, I'm so unique. But in this specific industry, there's not a set avatar that we're targeting for our marketing because we have two sides. We do have to raise capital, and that's a whole different avatar, right? And then you have your people that need to borrow the money. You need to get that money out the door and put it into assets. So then we're trying to attract borrower clients. So it is a little bit unique in that we have two sides that we have to go after. So our marketing team is always, focused in these two areas. But let me just take the borrower side, for example, so I could try. I'm not trying to dodge your question here. So on the borrower side, it really is the mom and pop fix and flip client. So think about someone that maybe got real excited about watching an A&E flip this house TV show or something. And they want to go out and they want to do it, but now they're starting to scale, and they might be doing 2, 3 or so houses. So it's usually between 2 and 5 houses per year is who our target is. Small mom and pop, and they need the funding to do it. So yeah, that is the dream client for us. And then on the investor side, I could go into more detail on exactly who we're targeting because we do narrow that down. But someone who wants a passive return that doesn't want to worry about tenants, toilets, and tantrums.
Yeah, amazing. And I know that you're an investor yourself. What does that aspect of the business look like?
So it's been evolving over the years. I've been so focused on the residential side, Michelle. I loved it because it's so simple, right? And the houses are the most liquid real estate asset you could get. The buyer pool for housing is much larger than any other asset class. Okay, but with that comes headaches and hassles, right? It's hard to get the cash flow in rentals compared to maybe a commercial asset. So your cash flow is less, vacancies are lower. It's like good and bad. And you have the retail tenant is the one that's going to call you when their light bulb goes out, or they're going to call you when they lock themselves out of the door. Or if you have small multifamilies, you're going to have them calling you because the neighbors are fighting with each other. Like those are difficult problems to even manage that you don't have with commercial. So as I've grown through my career, and it's more recent really, within the past like 5 years, I've started really focusing more on the commercial side. And I'm highly attracted to retail, like small neighborhood retail centers. So think about your inline like strip center. and industrial that you could split up into smaller bays. So let's say you take a 20,000 square foot warehouse, for example, and if you could figure out how to turn that into 4, 5, or 6 3,000 foot warehouse bays, like small flex spaces.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Then you can really increase the value of that asset. And then you get those tenants in there and they're signing 3 or 5 year, sometimes longer leases, and it's their business. So they take care of it, right? They don't want to not take care of their business home. Very different than the tenants who don't take care of your properties, right? So I'm evolving more and more onto the commercial side. And in fact, I probably won't buy another residential property. At least that's what I'm saying right now. As we're recording this, who knows, that could change. But right now I'm really pushing more towards the larger projects as I grow my own personal investing side.
Yeah, amazing. And what is an obstacle or challenge that you have faced on your investing journey that now looking back in hindsight, you can see the lesson?
Yeah, I could think of quite a few. I've had lots of mistakes. I've had $1 million mistakes. So we can definitely talk about mistakes. But I'll tell you one of the ones, and I do share this when I guest on other podcasts. And I like coming to this one because it was so impactful for me. And that is when you set your goals, how you set your goals and what you're actually trying to accomplish matters. Like we talk about, let's set our goals. They have to be smart goals, measurable, attainable, all of those things that we learn. And then we put them on a vision board or whatever. And then we don't look at them all year. Or maybe we're high achievers, which a lot of your listeners, I'm assuming, are. High achievers tend to set goals and they actually try to hit their goals, right? And that could be even worse because here's the mistake I made. I was so focused, it was ego, but I was so focused on what people were thinking about me. And I was successful very young. I was 22, 23 years old and I was doing transactions, which is, I guess, sort of rare. And so people were like, how are you in college and still buying all these houses? I was buying 1 or 2 a month. So I was getting that attention and I was feeding on that attention. Well, what happened, Michelle, is I set my goals based on number of transactions. And this is common. I see it all the time. I would like to do 12 deals 2026. Okay, well, that's fantastic. But does that mean you're doing 12 terrible deals just so you can hit your 12 deal goal and feel good about yourself? And then all of a sudden you lost money for the year. So what I've decided to really narrow down is, well, why do I want to do the 12? Okay, I want to make money. And why do I want to make that money? I want it for this reason or this reason. And I'm trying to dig in a little bit to set more powerful goals and true intentions and get the ego out of the way.
Yeah,
That was a
absolutely.
mistake for sure. That was definitely a mistake. So yeah, important how you set your goals would be my lesson.
Definitely. And so, how do you set goals now?
So like I said, so I will ask the questions, why? So, it's cliche, but it really does work. If you could dig in 5 whys, you could really get to what you're trying to accomplish. And then once you know that, that's the target, right? Let's say I want to help 200 kids in need this year. And just if you could define like how you're going to do that. Okay, well, now I get back in. Okay, now I'm going to need this much money to do that. Plus I need all my living expenses and whatever other goals you have over here. But I know I need this pot of money to accomplish that goal. And then you get back into that. Well, I know if I'm fixing and flipping, let's say, I know my average profit's 35 grand or 45 grand or whatever the number is for your listener. Well, now I know I need to do X number of deals to hit that money, right? So now it's just an exercise of backing into what you need to do. And I'll even take this a step further. It is vital that we set goals where we can actually achieve them. And here's what I mean by that. I can't control necessarily the profit I make on every single deal. Like things happen. Maybe there's problems that I find. when I open up the wall and I find, well, the wiring's bad. Now I got to redo some of the wiring, or there wasn't a permit closed out from a previous owner. Now I got to have a permit come in and I need to expose the plumbing so they could inspect it, whatever the issue is. Right. So I can't always control that, but what I can control.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Is how many people am I going to call? How many doors am I going to knock on to go find those deals? How many offers am I going to make to find the deal? And so now it's an actionable goal, not a results-driven goal. And now I know I could hit it. Now, whether it provides the results I want, I can only try to get as close as I can. But what I can control is the actions I'm going to take to do that.
Yeah.
Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great advice.
And that's one of the things that, here's where people get tripped up in real estate, Michelle, especially for the listener that's sort of new. They get scared, right? It's fear that stops us from taking the action, and then we don't have the success. And I'll say this 1,000 times. What's more scary, taking a risk and failing, or not taking the risk and being in the same spot you are right now in 5 years? So what's really the scary thing here? But one of the things that will help get over this fear, because I know that's what stopped people, is to create these little goals that you can accomplish, and don't get hung up on the results. The results will come, but that is a great strategy to help you overcome your fear because you can control it.
Yeah, definitely. I think the action is where people get the most tripped up.
Scary out there.
Sure.
Doing podcasts are scary. Like you were probably scared the first time you did what you're doing right now. I can imagine that was probably not comfortable for you, but look at you.
Yeah. Everything starts uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are you most focusing on solving or scaling to next in your business?
Yeah, the scaling is where we're hyper focused. We're definitely at that spot. So there's 18 of us on the team now. So we're right at that inflection point where it can really take off. But to do that, you have to have the systems in place to build on. So 2025 was hyper focused on foundation. So we got into an office that we could grow into. So we're not so tight. So that's one example of a foundation. But setting up we talked a little bit before you hit record about the tech stack. So now we have a CRM, customer, what is it called? Customer retention or whatever. It's CRM. It's your customer contact. Anyway, so we use HubSpot now, and we've been bouncing around to different systems, and we could never get a grasp and get everyone's buy-in. But now we have one. So that's a big piece to a foundation. So that would be example. Now that most of the foundation is in, now we're starting to upgrade systems. So how are we handling the process for a new client that has this situation? Let's figure that out, document it so that it's like McDonald's, right? Anybody can run through that process. And that's really the key to scaling.
Definitely. And so are you most focusing on scaling the Pine financial aspect of the business?
Yes. So I'm a strong believer in this. And this is not a popular opinion, but I'm going to share it with you. I think going real estate investor full-time is very difficult. Now you could have success with it, and a lot of people do. But what I often find is someone who knows how to make money in something else, and then they extract the money from that task. So maybe they want to be a doctor, for example. Well, you're very good at that. You enjoy that. Go do that. And then when you get your paychecks, put a little bit aside to invest in real estate. And I think that's a good way to go. So for me, I love both, but my bulk of my income comes from Pine. So that's where the bulk of my focus goes. And then I'll extract the capital and I'll go invest it into properties.
Amazing. And what has been something that you have overcome as a lender? Because that's not an easy industry either.
Right. What have I overcome? So here's what I can share with you. I've had problems, right? We do foreclose every once in a while, and every time we do that, we re-underwrite the file and say what mistakes were made, how do we get better, right? Sometimes it's nothing that we've done. Maybe there's a partnership that just there was a partnership divorce. That's pretty common actually, and there's no way we could foresee that, right? But when you have those types of problems, especially early on when you're pretty small, one problem like that is massive to the company, right? It's much easier to absorb it for us now, but back then it was very hard. But here's what I learned. If we could have radical transparency, that's actually one of our values. Transparency is one of our values. If you could have radical transparency, we actually raised more capital and grew faster when there was a challenge, because I guess it's rare when you invest with somebody if they tell you when there's a problem. So we're just very open about it. This is exactly what happened. This is exactly what we're doing. And they're like, they get comfortable with that and they went out and told their friends, and then more money comes in. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Amazing that transparency was able to grow the business in that way.
Yeah. And it's the transparency, but it's the challenge and knowing that you're going to stick to the challenge. You want to invest with operators that you know are going to fight through the challenge, because we all have them. So, I mean, it worked for us. We had a challenge. Here's what we're doing about it. And we would just, sometimes I'd meet with the investors when I was just getting started, because I had such a small amount of them. It was okay for me to do that. So I'd go out and have coffee and say, okay, here's what we're dealing with. This is what I'm doing. And, that just went a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And are most of your investors also local to your area?
Gosh, I say most. Well, if there was a pie chart, there would be a big piece of the pie from Denver. There'd be a big piece of the pie from Minnesota, but we really do have investors all over the country. Because look, when you do what you say you're going to do, people talk about that. So we get a lot of referrals, and it's all over the country, because we can accept investors from all over the country. Yeah, but when you're getting started, you got to grind. It's not like you just sit back in the desk and set up an LLC and people start calling you, right? So it was very much coffees, cocktails, networking meetings. You're not in the office at all. You're always out talking and meeting with people. So there was bootstrap, guerrilla marketing, you might say. Some people would use that term, but it's really just trying to build connections and grit.
Definitely. I think networking is one of the most important aspects of this business.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. Well, before we begin to wrap up here, if someone wants to reach out, connect, learn more about what you're up to, where can people find you and connect with you?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. The best way to reach out to us or to learn more about Pine Financial Group in general is pinefinancialgroup.com. But look, we do a lot of videos and we're getting amazing feedback. They're very short, like less than 10 minutes, 5, 7 minute type videos once a week. And it's current. What's happening today? What are we seeing investors do? What am I doing to have success? And sometimes you're navigating tricky waters, right? The economy, there's a little bit of noise right now. So how do you manage that? What's going to happen when the Fed chair turns over, right? That's an example. Like, how is that going to impact you as an investor? And we've seen that impact, right? With Bitcoin and what happened there. So understanding those types of things help you be a better investor. So we have a lot of people go to the YouTube channel too, and it's just YouTube.com/Pine Financial.
Perfect. Well, appreciate your time and your story. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. And for those listeners tuning in, if you got value, make sure you have subscribed. We have more conversations with operators like Kevin who are building real businesses, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.